Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the first Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast of the new year. Happy 2021. We are here. Another year of Let's Talk Resident Evil. We're going on the 11th year of the channel next month, and we're going to keep giving you content. There's a lot of Resident Evil stuff happening this year in 2021. And one of them is the film reboot that is scheduled for September of 2021. So, obviously, unless anything gets delayed for its release, we shall see. But so far, there's been a lot of stuff that has leaked about the casting. Well, the casting wasn't so much leaked, but set photos were leaked, and some information was posted online. We've been quiet on this since the official press release. I did a little video talking about it, saying that it's not really so much exciting. But this podcast, me and John sit down and talk about everything. And there was so much stuff coming out so fast about the movie reboot every week that we wanted to wait until most of the information that we can get our hands on was out there before we did a show dedicated to the idea. So instead of doing a bunch of different videos and small videos, we figured let's just wait and discuss it out in a podcast format because that's the best way to do so and to explain how we feel. And obviously this podcast is going to be, some people are either going to agree, some people are going to disagree. We feel a certain way about the live action movies, and we share similar opinions of the live action movies and some people that watch us. So throughout the year leading up to the release of the reboot, we're still going to continue to do our Resident Evil film reviews because we did the first film from 2002. The next one is going to be Apocalypse. We're going to try to get that done in January for you guys, and we're going to do a commentary as well. So we're going to cover all the movies on the show leading up to September. So there's a lot of stuff that is coming out. We still have the live action Netflix show. We still have the CGI show that takes place in the games canon supposedly hitting this year. 2021 is going to be a busy year for Resident Evil and the channel, and we're going to cover everything every step of the way. We promise you that. Thank you so much for all the support last year. We want to thank you all here at Let's Talk Resident Evil for the ongoing support. And obviously, if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, Libsyn, or any digital platform that we have this thing on, which is everything, we appreciate that as well. And whether or not you watch the live streams, we're still live streaming, leading all the way up to Resident Evil Village, which may release in March or April. So everything's going good over here, and we're going to keep it going. So without further ado, this is our episode talking about the Resident Evil reboot and everything that has come out so far. Let's do it.
This is STARS Officer Rebecca Chambers, and you're listening to Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast.
What's going on, everyone?
How's it going?
We're here with another episode of the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast. We call everything, and we're so full of ourselves.
We're so full of the right correctness that
sorry for reporting stuff and then it ends up being right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
God forbid we give you real information. If you're listening to this on iTunes or podcasts or any other apps on your mobile phone, and you can leave a review, just know that we read them. And if you think that we're full of ourselves, you can go fuck yourself.
We are fans of the series, and we're always here to deliver the shows that give you the goodness on the news. Whether or not you're happy about what we feel about the news or not, sometimes people take that out on us, but it's okay because, this is a topic that, people are either going to really like it or they're really going to hate it in regards to Resident Evil movies, because that alone has been a topic of discuss since, 2002, since the first movie. People aren't really happy about where the live action series went. And now that it's over, because the final chapter was the final chapter in the Paul W.S. Anderson series, it's been enough time now where there is a reboot. They are shooting it right now. They started shooting it in October. And since it's been announced, I did a video on it and we talked about it when it came out. And then that was pretty much it. But between then and now, there's been a complete cast officially announced. There's been release dates. There's been pictures, leaks, set pieces, and everything. And everyone online has been asking us every stream, what we think about them, because it's been, a few months since the stuff has accumulated. So we wanted to wait to do a show that covers everything once most of this stuff was out and about. As of now, this movie reboot is just titled Resident Evil, and it's scheduled to be released September 9th of 2021. And Screen Gems and Constantine Films are both releasing this and the distribution. It's written and directed by Johannes Roberts, who did 47 Meters Down, the sequel to 47 Meters Down, and also a movie that I actually liked, Strangers Pray at Night, which is the sequel to The Strangers. But that is the only thing that really, interests me in regards to like what this man has done. But this time he's writing and directing what they call an origin story that takes place in 1998. Now, the big thing here is when this was released for the press and all the websites and everything like that, it was essentially all cast that was released. It was basically our core characters. And we got a couple other characters at the tail end of it. So right now we're going to go into the casting, because this is a big topic right here of who is casted as our heroes. And the first thing we have Kea Scodelario as Claire Redfield, which, again, I'm not really too familiar with all of these people listed here. So, forgive me if I'm not saying everything that they've been in, because I haven't seen a lot of these, I don't know a lot of these names. As far as I know, these are younger people, probably in their, mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s, depending on the roles or how they actually casted them. We have Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield. We have Hannah John Kamen as Jill Valentine. We have Tom Hopper as Albert Wesker. We have Yvonne Yogia as Leon S. Kennedy. We have Neil McDonough as William Birkin. We have Donell Lago as Chief Irons. I don't know how to say that. Logue. It's like L-O-G-E.
Yeah, a lot of these cast
Loggy.
names are kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
It's I'm pretty sure it's Hannah John Kamen. I'm pretty sure it's Avon Yogia.
Right.
The J is
Avon, Avon. I don't know.
Yeah, either way. Kea Scodelario, Tom Hopper, Robbie Amell, like you said. Neil McDonough is what it looks like. McDonough.
McDonough. I said McDonough.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And then you have Chad Rook as Richard Aiken. You have Lily Gao as Ada Wong. You have Marina Mazeppa as Lisa Trevor. So this is an interesting cast of characters to put in one movie. And at this point, it seems that this is a final cast for the film. And they are filming, and they're probably going to be wrapping this month. So the big thing here is, what are they doing with our characters in this film? You have Claire Redfield, you have Chris, you have Jill, you have Wesker, but you also have Leon, Birkin, Chief Irons, Richard Aiken, Ada Wong, and Lisa Trevor all in one movie. So
I guess let's start with just how we feel about the cast.
That's going to be the first thing, is that, like, how do we really feel about these cast of characters that they have playing our heroes in this new reboot? Because this is something that, we've waited for a reset for a while for these movies to try something new. And we don't really know where they're going with these characters or story yet, besides of just rumors that we've heard.
For sure. And I will say on the record, for me, the only actor or actor/actress, whatever words you prefer, I know actor's trending now for everyone, that I know from this list is Avon Yogia.
Mm.
And I only know him from a Nickelodeon show called Victorious when he was Beck, and that was back when he was younger. That's the only media I've ever seen with any of these people that I can remember.
Right.
So you're not going to get a lot from me in terms of what their performance is capable of.
Same here.
Yeah, I don't want to say they're a bunch of nobodies, but they're a bunch of nobodies to us because we don't really know them. I know that he did a great job as Beck. I've said before I was a big Dan Schneider fan. Drake and Josh, iCarly.
I found a gel. I found a gel.
Drake and Gel is their real name. Yeah. They just don't know that. But Drake and Josh, iCarly, Zoe 101. I was a fan of all those shows growing up. Yeah. I preferred watching them to some of the cartoons around that time because not a lot of the cartoons were that great in my opinion.
Time.
Yeah.
No.
I really enjoyed that era. And, you know, I'll never forget I got sick with the Drake and Josh Christmas, or Drake and Gel, I should say. The Drake and Gel Christmas special. And that's when I lost my ability to sing. Like, my actual singing voice. Because I used to be in choir. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, I'll never forget post-nasal drip. I've had it ever since. I had a wicked sinus infection that year. And Drake and Gel.
Drake and Gel forever.
Drake and Jill.
Well,
but yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Now, as far as aesthetics go, Anthony, I'll let you go first with this, but who do you think really fits the role visually, and who do you think doesn't fit the role visually?
Well, I would say, I mean, as far as like, the cast of characters, I think the only person that doesn't really, I mean, Chief Irons can look crazy.
Yeah.
So I know, because that was the more recent one. William Birkin, I can see. Chris Redfield, I can see.
William Birkin is old as fetch.
He is. We don't have a picture of Lily. I'm sure she'll, look the part. I'm really.
Lily does look the part.
She does. Okay.
Marina Mezpa.
Because how are they going to make Lisa Trevor look?
Well,
in this,
the actress, as long as this picture that I pulled up is correct, which is very, very possibly not, but I Googled her name, and the actress is Asian.
Okay.
So, she...
Last name's like Gao, or... Yeah.
No. Like, the Mezpez.
Oh,
Mezpa. Marina is Asian. Ada. Lily Gao is Asian, too.
Okay.
Lily Gao looks Ada. She's
okay.
very, 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 very much... Ada as we know her, okay, like as we know her in the game world, she could pass as Ada. Mm-hmm. There's not a problem with that. Hopefully she obviously doesn't look very similar to Ada. She does have a different facial structure and all that shit. But
hopefully
that
we
really
get
matter.
some good scenes with her, depending on when we're gonna get into that, like what they could be doing with these characters. As far as like, I'm really excited to see what Hannah's going to be doing as Jill Valentine. Yeah. I think that looks I think that's going to look really cool to see. The Stars uniform on the big screen, finally. And
if she wears it.
Because
leaks have shown she's wearing RPD.
Right. So if she's wearing RPD, and she's, they changed that lore. Again, that's hat, stuff that, we may or may not be happy about depending on the story. But it really comes down to the performance, right? So I think everyone, the only person that I kind of scratch my head at a little bit is, Ivan Yogia as Leon.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really look like Leon. He doesn't really have the same resemblance, so they are going in a different direction, it seems.
He doesn't feel like Leon either.
Right. And we're going to talk about the leak in regards to Leon's character. Yeah. Because the real topic here isn't so much, again, if they don't have to look 100% like the character, right? But we know them as a particular way. And we want our characters to act a certain way in regards to the lore. And they can easily change it because, with the lore in Paul W.S. Anderson films, all of a sudden we have, Chris Redfield, who's in this prison in Resident Evil Afterlife, and Claire's looking for him. And they change stuff of the characters that we know and love. Jill is, she's completely disappears after the second movie, and then she comes back. And when she comes back, she has the chip on her chest and everything, and it doesn't really make sense to Resident Evil 5. It has no real connection to anything. Why does Wesker have Ouroboros in Resident Evil? Why does he have the Magini parasite coming out of his mouth? Little things like that don't make sense. And I think that's the biggest thing at the end of the day when, all cast aside, if you put all of these characters and all of these, these forms of talent in one room, how is the chemistry going to be? Are they going to feel like they've been on a team? Are they going to feel like they're even, supposed to be together? You know what I mean? In regards to if if these roles are going to be, shifted in regards to, hey, we're going to actually try to write something different for the characters that you know and love. I don't know what's wrong with just keeping it the same in regards to making our characters like act the same, because we had years of being, offended by, as the movies got past a certain point, they were just changing everything for the sake of everything, of being different, like throwing everything, at the wall. And I always found that really offensive with the Paul Anderson films, like when you bring in Leon and you bring in Barry, because we can't really, record the show and not talk about the past and how they burned us in the past. And I think that's a big thing as to why we had like such a negative reaction to this initially, because we're like, we've been burned for so long, and every single like movie that they set up, they kept breaking down what we knew and love about like the characters that we've come to know. Like Leon still was a clown in the last live action movie, and he can easily be a clown in this live action movie if they don't do justice to his character. Leon holds a lot of weight because he is like the face of the series. Same thing with Jill and Chris. Like all these characters, everyone listed here, even from Chief Irons to William Birkin. I mean, these are characters that are so like baked into the lore. They have to really knock it out of the park. I mean, their performance has to be good, but if they change too much about these characters and it doesn't really feel like our characters, that's like, I take offense to that. And I don't think I'm going to enjoy that on the big screen, because what's wrong with just keeping it the same and giving us what we know and love on the big screen without making so many changes? You don't have to make changes every single time you bring it to the big screen.
You don't.
I don't think so. And we saw that fall from the first film, and we're still covering the films on the channel here and doing on the podcast. We're going to be doing Apocalypse, and we're going back and kind of going through the old movies and seeing what went wrong and when it really fell apart. But from the first movie to final chapter, it was a fucking mess by the end of it. And I know that we all know here, and you guys listening at home or wherever you're at, know that this is going to be multiple movies. So if they're setting this up, what the hell are they going to do with all these characters if they're just like switching everything? Then we're going to have multiple lines of movies where everything's kind of like out of whack. There's not really like consistency. That's my fear, honestly, at the end of the day. Like the cast, it could fall apart. It could be really good. The chemistry can be there, but they really got to bring it, man, because we got shite people last time for those roles. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like, Mila Jovovich is a great actress, right? And she was playing her own character, so she could get away with, like, I'm Alice, I'm doing this. Like, every movie, it's her.
Yeah.
But now these are characters that we know and love in every single game that we play. And it holds a lot more, like, detrimental, like, value to us if something were to, like, happen with this. Because, like, we're not going to get another reboot for another 15 years. If you think about how long the other series went. Like 12, 15 years. Yeah,
and on the note of Paul W.S. Anderson, him and Mila have been doing interviews recently about how they want to return to his Resident Evil world, and he might get that deal.
Yeah,
because
he's
Paul
still
W.S.
in cahoots
Anderson,
with Screen and Constantine.
Like,
he's still in there's a lot of stuff that like he's in bed with them, right? But at the end of the day, this is trying to make it seem like, oh well, we tried to go back to the original, first two games. That's what they said in the press release, is that they're trying to focus on this story. So when we got the cast and everything like that, that was the big thing where it's like, okay, like, yeah, we see these cast of characters, but what are they really going to do? And then you heard rumors of Leon shooting his partner.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to get into that, because I wanted to ask you how you felt about that, because that's a big thing where it's like they're starting to alter these characters in ways that we're not really happy about or familiar with. Like, Leon S. Kennedy isn't someone who would shoot his partner. He's someone who's sharp and he's smart and he knows, even though it might be his first day on the job, or he might be in, training, whatever the case may be. That's just not something that like Leon S. Kennedy would do. It's like if Jill Valentine did that or Chris Redfield did that, it still wouldn't be in their character. And again, like I said, with the other movies, we saw this before, and it just really turned us off to the idea of seeing them on the big screen.
Yeah. So I'll start with just saying kind of my recap of the actors and actresses, like what I think about them. And then I'll get into the Leon thing because I'll talk about him last.
Right.
But, the casting for Claire, for Chris, I think is perfect. It's acceptable. They both look the part. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they can act the part. Chief Irons casting, I think, is perfect. Lily is perfect. Neil as William Birkin, to me, I don't see it. He's too old. William Birkin is pretty young.
Unless they do some like makeup or some CG,
which is very true.
Shit.
They could make him look younger, and if they do that, I'll rescind,
Right.
I'll recede
or
on
they'll
that.
just make him an old fucking change the lore. You know,
Or they'll
make
change the
him
lore.
like fucking Spencer. at the end of his
Ultimately,
days.
ultimately with William Birkin though, it's going to fall into how the character is portrayed and acted.
Yeah.
Tom Hopper as Albert Wesker is like, yeah, he's a big dude, but like his face looks too goofy to me. It's like he looks like a goof, and I don't think that's Wesker. It doesn't look like Wesker to
Also,
me.
where the fuck's Annette?
Well, we'll get to the missing characters because there's a lot more than
I was
just
going to
Annette.
say, yeah, because that brings up more questions.
Yeah, we'll
this
get to
cast
that.
List, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
Hannah John Kamen, I think, can do Jill as long as she's in the proper wardrobe, and I think as long as she gets her hair cut short. I would do short hair Jill, not long hair Jill for her, and I think she could pull it off just fine. I don't really have, as the time has gone on. I originally had a problem with her being Jill because Jill, a lot of people are going to jump to conclusions and be like, oh, because Jill's not black, I mean, Hannah's mixed. She's not black, first of all. She's both. She's black and white. I was really holding out for Japanese Jill. I really wanted an Asian Jill. Which might be, because it's probably going to sound a little hypocritical when I get to Leon, but I have a personal reason why I dislike Avon Yogia as Leon. I don't dislike the person. I think he's a fine actor from what I've known from him. But in this entire list, Tom Hopper and Chad Rook are goofy motherfuckers, bro. Did you see Chad Rook?
No, I haven't seen Richard Aiken yet.
Yeah, I just think like, here, I'll show you real quick.
He looks like a Backstreet Boy.
A pencil head.
Right.
Like,
I mean, Richard, you could just have anyone. I mean, he's kind of useless.
he is kind of useless, but
Unless they make him
the
like
one thing I will say,
like he's like banging Jill or something.
oh Jesus.
You never know.
But what I would say is that is another one of those that even though he looks goofy, as long as he has a higher pitch voice, like a little higher than mine or maybe around mine, and he plays the part right, I think that Richard could really work. I'm not buying the Wesker. I'll have to see him.
See him in like full wardrobe.
Though I will say he's going to be better than the Wesker we got in the movies.
He
and
has
Paul,
to be.
yeah,
He has
he's
to
going
be.
to. They're all going to be better characters than the better
Don't
actors.
forget the Wesker that sat at the end of the table in Extinction but didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Don't
they're
forget
all
that
going to be
one.
better actors than the ones that we have in the Resident Evil movie. Even Avon.
The fact that we're saying there's multiple Weskers.
There's no way, bro, that they're going to be worse than the live action movies we already have. They're going to be better actors. Even Leon. Like Leon's actor, Avon, will be better. He will. It's going to happen. He's going to be better.
Hopefully the material is better to work with.
I have my doubts, but
yeah,
me
too.
which
Me
we're
too.
going to get
We're
into.
gonna
We're going to get into that. Now, I want to clear the room with Leon real quick. I feel no guilt when I say this, and I've been thinking about it for a long time. That's part of the reason why we wanted to, collect our thoughts and get soak up some more of the information over these last month or two.
Because everything's been coming out
rapidly
after the press release.
Rapidly,
multiple releases.
He's not my Leon, and I don't feel bad for saying that. And I am a progressive thinker. I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for diversity. I'm all for everything. That has no real factor in it. The color of his skin is not a factor as to why. Well, I mean, I guess it is a factor technically, but the individual is not a factor. I have a very personal reason for not liking this Leon casting. I grew up with Leon as basically my video game hero. He's who I looked into. He's who I related to. He was a rookie. He was young. He was inexperienced. And then he turned professional. He was the character I identified with. He was the game character that I played the most with. And whether it's selfish or not, I liked having a character who looked like me. It's part of the reason why I really like Miles Morales. Because Miles Morales is the Spider-Man for another ethnicity group that is not white, for the black ethnicity group, that they can look up to and look into and relate to and be greater. Miles Morales is the best Marvel move I've ever seen. And he's not really new. He's been around.
Oh, yeah, for years.
But he's in the mainstream now. They've really pushed him with Spider-Verse. Fucking great movie. And the new video game, I am so excited to play. Like, I am ready to play Miles Morales. I like him almost as much as I like Peter Parker because they're different characters, right? And I like that inexperience. Miles Morales is basically kind of in a way what Leon was in the original Resident Evil 2. He's new, he's inexperienced, he doesn't really know what's going on yet, but he's kind of got that chip on his shoulder. Like Leon has that chip. He's like, I'm a cop. I'm going to protect people. It's almost like adorable in a way because it's like Ada thinks he's cute because like, he's like, oh, you're playing cop. Wow, that's so adorable. But he turns into this hardened veteran. And I identified with that character because he looked like me. I don't think that's wrong, right? Like, I don't think that's wrong, me personally. I identified with that character because he looked like me and he was my video game hero. I know it's silly to say, but he was my hero. Some people look at Batman. Some people look at Superman.
Right.
Some people look at fucking Ray Lewis from the Ravens. Some people look at Michael Jordan. They look at people that they identify with, even if it's not, you know, I'm a basketball star. Like, it's like, oh, he's like me. You know, he loves whether it's he loves basketball, whether it's he's black like I am, whether it's he's tall like I am, it doesn't matter what people find value in, right? Obviously, you could say, well, he's still a man. You're a man. You can relate to him. And yes, that's true. I'm not going to disassociate myself with the new Leon just because...
But can you relate to a character that shoots his own partner that doesn't even do that in the
We're going to get into that.
Because
definitely going to get into that because this wouldn't be the end of the world for me. I would still enjoy it if there wasn't an assassination of character. And if the rumors are true, that is like the cherry bomb on top of my negative feelings towards the casting of the character itself. His Instagram didn't make me any better because he's not shaved. He looks like the wardrobe is really lazy. He looks like he was just like, oh, yeah, guys, look, I'm having a good time. Yeah, peace sign. Like, yeah, look, I'm Leon, blah, 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 blah. Without saying he was Leon. But you're not. You're not the character that I grew up with. You're not the character I identified with. You're not even trying from what we've seen.
Right.
Now, if you shave the man and you give him the right haircut and he acts the part, he'll do a fine job. And I'll have no problems with it. Other than story-related problems, which are not the actor's fault. We agree. The actors, It's not their fault. If the story's trash, the actors are just gonna do the best they can. Right? I just wanted to clear the air there because I'm very passionate about the Leon casting. And I think it gives me a little bit of credit too with, there's going to be people who are just like, you just don't like him because he's half white, half Indian. He's not even, the people group people as, if they're not white, they're something else. He's mixed. He's just like Hannah. He's mixed. But I have less of a problem with Hannah because I don't have that attachment to Jill like I do with Leon. Which is why I said it might come across as a little hypocritical because it's like, why do you only care about Leon? It's like, well, because that's why. Because he's the character I'm attached to. It's why I disassociated myself with Chris entirely because Chris looks different every game. And yeah, we meme and we were like, all the characters look different. But Chris always looks different. Like, he structurally looks different.
I think now they finally got it down pat.
They did. It looks like they did, yeah.
Good.
I really like Chris, 7 or 8
took
Chris.
The constructive criticism that he looked like a crackhead, because he did.
He did. He looked like ShamWow guy.
Yeah, like, I understand he's older, and I know he's gonna, like, but you can't make him look like a crackhead,
He looked like a pinhead,
yeah,
bro. Like, it's just, he looked dumb. So that's my little rant. I'm not going to get too far onto it. If you respond with hate comments, I'm not going to respond to them. I'm just going to delete them because I know who I am and that's all that matters. You know who I am and we're partners. So like,
right. Yeah, no,
I'm not
for negativity.
No, it has nothing to do with like a race thing or anything like that. It's just like, it just has to do with my personal identification with the character. I love Leon. He's one of my favorite fictional characters, possibly my favorite. Probably my favorite, I should say. Most likely. So when you take the character that I have, that we have, all of us together, man, we have him on posters, on games, on cards, on stickers, on books, on art books, on magazines, on comics, on movies, on everything. And you make him look completely different, you're damn fucking right I'm going to be pissed. Because it's not Leon. I'm sorry. It's not. He doesn't look anything like Leon. And if the wardrobe is not done properly, and he's not clean shaven, and he's not inexperienced Leon, despite the stories, his character, his traits, his personality, if it's not Leon, I will write this movie off.
Because what we got last time, too, with these characters, keep in mind...
Was cosplayers.
Yep, that's
exactly.
all it was. It was just them. Didn't
Jill
have
was
any
hot.
traits,
Claire was hot.
No personal, like...
But,
had no relation to the video
nothing.
game characters at all. And
it
that's
killed
offensive.
It.
Yeah.
It killed it.
Now, you could watch this movie and completely change what you just said.
Exactly. If he
and
does a good job...
I want that to be known.
Yeah,
people
for
are like,
sure.
Well, you guys didn't see it. No, we haven't. We're pretty much... This show is us just talking about all the leaks so
initial
far
impressions.
And the set pieces and initial impressions, because there isn't a trailer yet. That we'll probably get one by next month or the month after, because it's coming in September. They're going to start promoting this shit soon. They're going to be done filming soon. So, like, we're going to see more stuff to judge it off of, and we're going to do that once we see it. But we can easily change our minds when we see this.
Consider where I'm coming from and consider my personal feelings before you leave a comment. That's all. And we have great community members who, you know, understand what we're talking about and stuff like that. And they'll hit us up in the comments with love. But
I mean, most people that listen to this, you know, they should have an open mind.
Yeah, open mind. Just have an open mind.
We don't.
And if they listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. 100% honest. They shave that motherfucker. They put him in the right clothes. They give him the right haircut. And they put him on screen. And he does a good job. Everything I just said doesn't matter. Because he was Leon. Death of the character, assassination of character personality, and look is unforgivable in my eyes. And I will hate this fucking movie if they do that. Regardless if everything else about the movie is great, if they fuck up Leon, I'm writing this movie off. And it might be selfish. I don't fucking care. I hate this movie if that happens. It doesn't matter how good it is. I will never watch it again after we watch it the first time. I hate this movie. Because I have the right to be like that if I want to. And that character, it means more to me than any of the other characters in the series combined. Except for maybe Steve Burnside. But he's not in
dirty, man. I mean, you won't like it.
I won't like it. If they do our characters dirty in general, like you said when we talked about this, you know, before the other day, if they burn us this time, man, I'm done. I'm done with the movies.
Right.
I'll watch the CG movies, but I'm done.
Well, that gets into, you know, the next thing, which is
the narrative.
You know, narrative, and, you know, the big thing here is we also saw, you know, with the cast, we didn't see Barry casted. We didn't see Rebecca casted. So we're missing some characters initially. Annette is another one. You know, we're missing some of these characters. So the real question is, the only thing that we know about the synopsis is that it's an origin story that takes place in 1998. And what can they actually do with that? Is it going to be a game that tells a lot of the events before, in the city, before Resident Evil 1? Or is it going to take place the summer of 1998? If Leon's in there, obviously, there's got to be something involving Raccoon City. We obviously have seen the set pieces of the RPD station, the helicopter in the Arklay Mountains. We've seen these set pieces. They look great. But doesn't mean that they're going to be able to hold a lot of weight when it comes to the movie. So hopefully, whatever they're trying to push here, Lisa Trevor being in here is interesting. You know, we're assuming that this cast is final, unless they are keeping a lot of stuff like more hidden. They're not really doing a good job at this point, because everything's been leaked and people are walking on set and taking pictures, and there's no security because, you know, it's during the pandemic and everything. So all that being said, you know, what could they be doing with this story? It could be, they said between, you know, Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. So if they plan more movies, then they obviously have more time to tell these stories, regardless of what characters they want to introduce. Could they bring Barry in the second movie and Rebecca into the next movie? Yeah. Depends on where this one actually goes.
But,
I mean, that's the only thing.
With the cast that they have, I'm very skeptical they're going to do a good job of setting up sequels, and I'm very skeptical they're going to do a good job in general.
Yeah, because why do you have Burke in there now?
And Leon.
And Leon there
and
now.
Claire.
And Claire. Like, so is Leon and Jill, they're going to just, like, meet right off the bat?
Are we going to see them meet in a movie before we see them meet in the games?
Right. Like, they can easily, again, changing the stuff that we know. You don't have to keep everything exactly the same.
You take liberties.
But you can still, like, just not, you know, I don't know, just don't fuck it up, because this is really treading on some, thin ice with the fans. And I'm sure people are getting excited as they see the cast and the set pieces. But again, it really begs the question, like, what are they going to do to the origin story? This is going to be the one that kicks everything off right from the get-go. So, like, you better have a really good impression if you're trying to set. And are you trying to do too much in one movie? Is it going to be 2.5 hours? Is it going to be a 2-hour movie? Is it going to be an hour and 40 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, how long is this movie going to be? And is it going to be a rush job between origin story to Raccoon City to this to that? Are we going to see a lot of the Spencer Mansion? There hasn't been Spencer Mansion set pieces. There's just been Raccoon City set pieces, right?
No, there has.
There has?
There's mansion set pieces. There's helicopter in the forest set pieces.
So there's mansion set pieces,
there's
too.
City set pieces. There's fucking
so, like,
RPD
you're
gate.
showing all that shit. Like, how can
The
you cram
orphanage.
that in one movie?
You
know
can't.
what I mean? Like, you just can't. Like,
You can't.
So,
You look me right in the eyes right now, Anthony. You can't.
and if it's 2.5 hours long, that's too long.
We couldn't, and we're mega fans.
No.
We couldn't do that.
Yeah, the orphanage is also in there. Like, stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's cool, and it's cool that they're incorporating stuff from, like, remake and all that stuff. Like, I know people are looking at this as a positive, but, like, guys, I mean, there's a lot of shit that needs to be addressed here in regards to, like, what the fuck are they doing with these cast of characters and why now? I understand why Chief Irons is there and Richard, but, like, you have Ada and you have Lisa Trevor.
Sherry's missing.
Sherry's not there.
So why is the orphanage there?
That's what I'm saying. Unless, again, there's more of a cast that didn't come out yet. But, again, they're almost done filming. So unless they're keeping it under wraps, it's possible. There could be 5 characters that show up on here later. We don't know. And then when we see the trailer, we might, it might be a teaser. It might be a minute long. It might be a full trailer once they cut it together. But, hopefully they don't change a lot of the initial stuff in regards to the story too bad to where you're just like, why the fuck did they do that? And if they change something, just make it make sense. This guy, Johannes Roberts, he wrote and directed this thing. So if he's writing the script, like, does he have real experience with the other games? They all say they played the games. I love the games. We want to make it scary. We're making this scary. That's what they said in 2019 when the rumors came out. They're like, we're making this scary. We're doing a reboot. We're making it scary because this, clown was announced last year to be doing the script. We just didn't know that it was going to be, started filming so soon.
Dude.
And it's just like, you can either throw it away in the trash can and, like, piss on it and make it your own in a really negative way, or you can, actually do some good and, like, realize that we got burned for so long. If you're a real fan of the series, you know that those movies did not live up to, what we wanted by the end of it. The first couple movies were like, okay, we'll accept them. They were doing some things here, but, like, then it got way too crazy. So,
bro, and I have a bad feeling that I know exactly what this motherfucker is going to do with this movie. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to say it right now so that if we're right, if we were right, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to be like, bitch, I told you. You guys are
full of yourselves because you're right.
They are going to tell the story of the mansion and city at the same time. The outbreaks occurring simultaneously. And they're going to keep doing this building fake suspense bullshit by cutting back between Jill and Chris and Leon and Claire.
Oh, yeah. They can either
It's going to be like, they're going to be opening the door. They can't see me. But it's going to be like, and then it's just going to be Leon like, hey, you, freeze. Or he's going to shoot his partner.
The first movie is going to be leading up to the city, and then it's going to end.
And maybe Leon and Claire are just at the end.
Yeah, like they're just at the end. Like
it's very possible.
They don't have as big of a role as we think they do.
But Anthony, that would be the smart thing to do. So do you think that they're going to do that?
Well, if this guy wants a fucking, jam-packed script with,
He was the one who did 47 Meters Down?
Yeah.
I hated that movie.
Right.
That movie was, it was
and
bad.
at this point, regardless of his past work, doesn't mean it's going to be good or bad.
Paul made Mortal Kombat.
And we love Mortal Kombat.
We love the Mortal Kombat movie.
And we might go see Monster Hunter and be like, yo, that was pretty good.
We're not.
We're not.
But
maybe. We'll give it a chance. Like, we're not boycotting this movie and saying we're not going to fucking see it. And if we're right about shit, sorry.
Yeah,
we're
dumb.
fucking right. We talked about
dumb.
shit. All I'm saying is that we make predictions all the time. And if we're right, we get excited about it and we say that we're right.
Even if I hate this movie and I never watch it again because they kill Leon's character, I will still watch the sequel once. If you don't complain about something if you haven't seen it, that's stupid.
Right. And
like at Monster Hunter, we can only complain about if we've seen it, and we're going to see it tomorrow.
We're going to see it, but the thing is that again, the big thing is that people people have to understand that, like, you know, we are just taking this information as we got it, and that's why we're doing these shows for you guys to really, as fans, take what we have, because no one else besides fans of the series are going to take this information without seeing anything but the set pieces and make a whole episode about it just to talk about, you know what I mean? Because we're diehards. That's just what we do.
And the people...
And you know what I mean? That's just our nature.
100%.
Like, we just do it all the time. We love covering this shit, good or bad.
And the people who are going to stumble across this video, this podcast, or our review of the movie are probably not going to be pure fans. I don't mean real fans, I mean pure fans, which means like they've been here for a while.
And you guys know the fans we're talking about because when the movies were on, you had those fans that just knew about the movies.
Wow, you like Resident Evil 2? Anthony, what's your favorite character? Well, John, my favorite character is Ellis. Oh, I can't talk to you.
And a lot of people can relate to that conversation.
Literally.
Because unfortunately, like John said, it does bring a lot of the casuals. Now, not that it's a bad thing.
No.
Maybe they'll stumble upon Resident Evil 3 Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake. They'll play those games.
If they like the movies even, fuck it. Like, well, who cares? Who cares? They're fans of the movies. It's fine.
But John brought up a good point. It's going to bring those people that just watch the movies. Maybe they're not into games. They don't play the games. And then
those are going to be the people who have a problem with us having a problem with the casting.
Right.
Those are going to be people that have a problem with us having a problem with the story.
And they don't know us, and they don't know the show.
Yeah, those are going to be the people who have a problem with us, have a problem with the story, have a problem with the casting, have a problem with Leon S. Kennedy.
There's so many like fingers pointing at
because they're going to be like, oh, you know your history with the character, John? I don't care about that. I just don't like the fact that you don't like him because he's Indian. And I'm going to be like, but that's not the reason.
You didn't listen to any show.
You literally didn't listen to anything that I said. But then we'll get them, and it is what it is. I trust the community to bog them down.
Right, yeah, like, again, that's the thing. It's like we're not really about, like, negativity here. We're not about anything toxic. No. You know what I mean? We just have to make sure that stuff stays away from our comments.
But we're also allowed to feel the way we feel.
That's true. Yeah,
you know?
we're not putting up barriers or a wall with how we feel on these shows. We're not putting on like a fake.
We're genuine.
You know, we're not putting on a fake character here. We're just reporting on stuff that we love to report on. Good or bad, a Resident Evil movie always kind of puts a ooh, like as soon as you hear Resident Evil live action movie, and the only reason why you get that reaction is because of the past. It's not like, you know, we were just sitting here for, you know, from 2000 or from, let's say, 97, 98 when it was first kind of trying to come on the big screen till now, to where it wasn't going to be, you know, ever like it wasn't going to ever come to the big screen. These, again, Uncharted, it's filming right now. Tom Holland, there's a picture of him, and these movies are going to get made. Money needs to be made. So no matter what, I understand that movies have to make money. Studios have to make money. Mm-hmm. These properties are always going to be, you know, what they are. They're always going to be taken out of context. They're going to be used on the big screen. Like, the Uncharted movie could be good or bad. Again, are they going to change Nathan Drake's lore? They could, right? But that's the problem, is that you always run into that. Same thing, like, if the Last of Us HBO show ever happens, are they going to change Joel and Ellie's lore? Because it's going to take place during the first game, right? Or before. So, like,
speaking of which,
you always run into those problems and those fears. They're there, you know?
This is like a slight tangent.
No.
Just a slight tangent. But I am not a fan of the redesign of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Like, why did they make him look like Tom? He looks like a 12-year-old.
Honestly, I didn't mind it, but because I didn't play the original. So I didn't see.
I didn't play either of them either, but I saw him, and I was like,
the PS5 remastered for.
Is Miles teaching Peter? What is happening? Because Miles looks like Peter's dad. Like, what? Like, that's just a small little comment, but like, I understand Tom Holland is like this. They're pushing this guy, like all that. He looks 13. Leave him boy alone.
Right. Well, I think he's playing a young Nathan Drake.
He is. Uncharted's fine.
That's how they're getting away with that.
Yeah.
But
because
again,
he would not be a good Nathan Drake, like an adult one.
No, get Nolan North. It's literally him.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, these properties are always going to be taken, and they're going to be made,
and they're going to make money.
Mortal Kombat next year. Yep. Coming out.
April.
Right. April. Logo looks like shit, but the movie can be good. Right. You know, we heard about this movie being made for 20 fucking years, and it's finally coming out.
You know what I noticed about the Mortal Kombat cast, though? They all look like the characters.
I didn't see the cast.
I did.
I didn't see the cast.
I'm a fan. I think it's going to be good. I mean, the story, I don't know any details, but like, I think the characters look perfect, bro.
That's good.
Scorpion looks like Scorpion. Sub-Zero looks a little goofy, but he looks still like Sub-Zero.
Hopefully it doesn't get delayed at this point. You know, I'm sure they're done filming.
Who's directing that?
I don't know. I got to look into that. Well, actually, James Wan,
is he doing it?
He might be producing it because James Wan was originally producing this film, but he left to work on Mortal Kombat, the movie.
Of course he did.
So James Wan is
because he saw something that he didn't like.
I was going to say,
yeah,
that is another. I mean, I'm sure we talked about that sometime last year or maybe in 2018. But yeah, James Wan was obviously in talks about this, but it ended up being, not the same situation that we thought. He ended up leaving the project, I think, last year. And then obviously Johannes Roberts joined. It's always funny. One person leaves, another person comes in. It's like they're constantly closing and opening doors. For
That's
these
my boy
talents to
Scorpion.
come in. Is James Wan on that project at all?
He is.
What is he? Producer or director?
He is.
I'm just trying to get this right for the record so people aren't like, no, you got it wrong.
The director is Simon McQuoid. Greg Russo is the writer. I don't know. James Wan is produced, yeah. Todd Garner and James Wan are producing it.
Okay. So, yeah, we were right. So, yeah.
And yes, that logo does look like Dookie.
Yeah.
It looks like
not
they're...
a fan of that. However, I did order the Mortal Kombat Steelbook that comes with One and Annihilation from Best Buy. It comes out in January. It was $15 on Blu-ray, and I don't own them, so I was like, I'm paying the money.
Yeah, Annihilation's not good, but Mortal Kombat is a great movie.
You will die.
Like, I love that they got them for the games too.
That's the best part because they knew it's a meme at that point.
Yeah, they added the costumes into 11 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. That's really cool. I'm a big fan.
Ed Boon knows what he's doing.
We're big fans of MK11.
Oh yeah, MK's great.
MK11, one of the best fighting games of the past couple years. Now, one thing that I wanted to kind of wrap up this conversation with is what positives can come from the film, and then what negatives. In regards to story, and in addition to the story, or obviously more RE content, we know that they're doing a Netflix show that has nothing to do with the games, and they're trying something completely. So can that really add to the series?
No. Billy and Jade? Right? Nobody wants them.
Now, someone might say, well, this will stand on its own. It won't add or subtract. But however, I think the positives I'll go first with this one. I think the positives with this would be bringing in new people, bringing in new fans to what Resident Evil really is, right? And we're in an era where more people are finding out about 7. They're getting into it because they can play it because it's first person. They're going to find out about Village. This is going to be, a very interesting couple of years on the RE side of things. They're going to be firing on all fucking cylinders. So I think the one positive that I could see from this is that we may, finally get a solid, nice live-action movie. Possibly. Don't know, though. It's not looking so great right now, but we haven't seen anything yet. Or, the second, more fans and more people coming over. And then the obvious for the other positive would be, we actually get to see some of our favorite, BOWs and our favorite, characters hopefully be fulfilled by, what they wrote in the script. What about you as far as positives?
One side note I do want to say about what you just said was Resident Evil 7 getting people into the
it's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I would not be surprised, and this is something we haven't really talked about before, but I wouldn't be surprised if 7 and 8 are first person because Capcom wanted to capitalize on the first person streaming market.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another first person RE.
Oh yeah.
I think they just wanted the exposure.
Absolutely. And it makes people jump in immediately.
It does.
I mean, first person horror blew up Outlast, Amnesia, like that was
and now it's starting to go away.
Right.
So they're going to switch back to their old formula. I think the remake formula is why they set that up.
I agree.
They did those concurrently so they could capture and be like, hey, this is what we're about.
Hey, remember RE4?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to love RE2.
You're going to love RE2.
It was even better. It was smoother. They got the cameras down. The movement was smooth.
It's
perfection,
and
like modern Resident Evil.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think that 7 and 8 were marketing genius moves, and I think that will go down in history as one of Capcom's best decisions.
Right.
Regardless of how I feel about the actual game, it's trash.
Well,
but yeah. Regardless of how I feel about the actual 7 game, and I'm looking forward to Village. I think Village is going to be way better. Village is going to be way better than 7. I think
it is.
in our opinion,
right?
Not for everyone, but for
about
us.
2021, it's like you're gonna get Village first. You're
Yes.
gonna get possibly the CGI TV show. You're also gonna get the live action movie
In September, we have a release date.
September.
Yes.
Yeah, we said that on the top
9th.
of the show. September 9th,
Which is Dustin's birthday.
2021.
Yep.
And we're not gonna say it here yet, but we do
Yes.
have something. Hopefully, depending on the state of the
We might as
US
well just
and
tell
the
them
theaters,
because you just said that. Like they could just guess.
we're going to try to do something special for
Yes.
a fan meetup. That's all
Yeah.
I'm going to say. I'm not going to say exactly,
Yeah.
but we're going to try to get this to be an event. It's going to be limited, extremely limited, because we're still going to be, in, we're still going to be in the state that we are next year. But hopefully, we'll see how
By
it happens.
September, hopefully things are cleared up and we can hold a movie night.
Yeah, some
An
kind of
actual
movie
screening.
Yeah, like we can do a private watch,
Renting
We
out
can
a
rent
theater.
out a theater.
Yep.
If theaters are still around, I hope. And we have
They
a
will
great
be.
we have a great one by us, and
We do.
They're really great, and I always support them. But
Cinemark will stick around.
Cinemark hopefully will stick around.
I
and
think a lot of
hopefully
the other
these
ones are
places
gone.
get bailed out. Yeah,
Yeah.
the other ones are definitely gone. We already lost Regal United Artists in March.
Yeah.
So we lost them already. Unfortunately, we only have Cinemark and AMC around here anymore, but it's going to be something special. Of course, we're going to let you guys know all the details. We're going to work on some stuff, but
Yes.
we discussed this
And before
yesterday,
anybody
and
gets
we wanted to
excited,
do it, big
Before
time.
anybody gets excited, buy Patreons come first.
Yes.
So if a Patreon member, if there's 20
Because of
$10
how
tiers,
limited-
then they're going to get first pick.
Exactly. Limited spots is a big thing because of capacity. So if they up that from what we saw and we looked into as far as how many people can come in there, that's something we're going to be announced. Obviously, we honestly have to play it by month. At this point.
It's not something in
So-
stone, but it's just an idea.
Because why would we not want to take a special occasion, especially when Vendetta came out? We had so much fun seeing that.
we have
in the theater.
Rob S is around.
Rob
We
S is
have
hanging
Riot and
around
Respect is around.
We got a lot of people around
Detective Butler's not that far away. We have a lot of people in the New York, New
here.
Jersey,
Some people that
Philly
are willing
area.
to travel
Joseph
and,
is
Yep,
around.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of people, and it would be cool to get a screening together. And Carlos Cruz is around.
Cruz,
Yeah, we've got tons
absolutely.
of people that are kind of local.
And it'd
It
be
would
really
cost
cool.
money, obviously. We wouldn't be flying people out for free or anything like
Right,
that, and
right.
we would want an admission ticket because their spaces will be limited.
Exactly.
But that's something that we were thinking of because it's something we've always wanted to do.
It's something we always wanted to do. And also, again, this is a really big year. It's also going to be another big year for the channel. I feel like
100%.
It's going to be we're gonna fire on all cylinders, and it seems like Capcom is in regards to how they're releasing everything. So
we're going to hit
celebrate-
20K subscribers this year.
Oh yeah, we're
2021.
on the road to 20K, and obviously you guys are going to be along for the ride. So thanks for listening to this show. Oh wait, I don't want to close it out yet. The negativity. from
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So that was just a side comment I wanted to make, but
That's another positive that can come from
the positive
the
that
film.
can come from it is without the reason why I brought that up is because exposure is the most positive thing. That's why I talked about 7. That's why I talked about everything else. And this is a good way to expose the franchise. Even if it's going to be bad, it's still going to be better than the live action movies we had.
Definitely, I
And
think so.
I
would hope so.
I would hope so. And as
Jesus.
long as they keep it hard, this is a great way to segue people who might be interested in that thing into the video games and bring our community to a higher level of numbers, right?
Absolutely.
Which not our community, I mean the Resident Evil community
Exactly.
as a whole.
Yeah.
and
People
our
getting into
community.
it for
Fuck
the first time.
Our community too.
Yeah.
Hopefully they
I mean,
find
it goes
us
hand
first.
in hand because
Yeah.
a lot of people that watch us are like, you're the reason why we're playing these games,
Yep.
or we got into them because we caught your live stream. That's amazing, and
Yeah.
it's great that we can do that. There really isn't a lot of negative stuff I can say as far as the movie in regards to how it's going to impact the community. Because what I was saying,
Well, it's going to be divisive.
it's going to divide it, but
It's going to be just as divisive or more than 7.
I wasn't
think.
saying negative in general, because obviously you can do a lot of stuff negative, but I was kind of in regards to the community, because I was
Yeah.
talking about how it's bringing people in, right? Regardless if it's good or bad, that's going to happen. That's why I don't consider that a negative thing. But the biggest negative thing would be a waste of fucking potential.
Yeah.
A waste of budget, a waste of cast, a waste of fucking characters. That's the shit that could be negative.
Yeah.
Where you're we wait
Giving the
again,
wrong
it's gonna
impression of the series.
it's going to give us 15 more years or 10 more years of shitty sequels right from the rip. And you'll be able to tell from the first movie if it's going to be in that direction. We couldn't really tell back in 2002 But as it got, into the movies, you started to, make that a little bit more apparent of like, okay, this is definitely going to be not going in the direction that I want it to be going in. So I think that the negativity that can come from this would be the division of the fans and any kind of arguing, but also, just the complete like, oh man, you guys just fucked up the characters, you fucked up the lore, you didn't do anything good with the BOWs, the makeup looks like shit, the CGI looks like shit. That all that stuff right there could just really give us a bad egg in the bunch.
We didn't even talk about that, and that is the most important fucking thing to this movie. The most important thing. Use practical fucking makeup.
Yeah.
You can do it, Capcom / Sony / Constantine.
CGI. We saw this in Paul W.S. That's the problem, is that he went
behind the
away
scenes
from that. And it was like, what the fuck, man?
I want there to be mostly zombies in this movie.
Make it scary.
Make it scary.
Don't make it, Jill's jumping off the wall doing backflips and Leon has a fucking gun up his ass and he's jogging down the street. Like, we don't need all that. We just need something that's simple. We need something that isn't like, we don't need the Popika monster from RE5 jumping around, fucking flying around and shit in Final Chapter. We don't need that. Just give me Raccoon City and the fucking mansion. We don't need these crazy CG effects.
Zombies, Crimson Heads, and Hunters.
Hello, Tom Savini.
That's all we need.
These practical effects have been done on zombies for years before. And if anything, maybe it's cheaper to do practical. Yeah, it's time consuming, but like...
Also, they never, other than Nemesis, they never did a Tyrant.
Extinction.
I wrote that out of my memory.
And it was bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
But
that's the other problem with the Paul W.S. Anderson movies is like all of the movies don't even consistently like feel like the same world.
Why is the Tyrant in Extinction? He should have been in the first movie.
In the first one, yeah.
Nope.
They don't even feel that. Did they? Oh, I do remember that now, I think.
Yeah, Dr. Isaac. But no, that's not him. No. It was a clone.
It was a clone. One of them.
He tested it on himself, and that's the thing. If you bring back the fucking clones, I'm done.
I'm
done.
Also, Anthony, I swear to God, if they don't bring back predictive combat software,
I'm walking.
That's all, folks. Have a good night.
Out of the screener. Yeah, I'm walking out of the screener live if they don't bring back predictive combat software.
Dude, I'm just saying. If there was no predictive combat software, how else were you supposed to frame perfect the yawn in the first fight?
Yeah, there was no way that they would have made it out of the mansion.
Why do you think auto aim? Why do you think auto aim exists in the games, Anthony? It's because all of the characters have predictive combat software.
And Wesker's Big Shalom.
Are you dumb? Like, did you not know that?
Yeah, you didn't play the games.
You didn't play the games.
You didn't know that
did you know that the
parasite was going to come out of Wesker's mouth and Chris and Claire are going to shoot Wesker gangster style while they're sitting there on the floor shooting him in every part of his chest?
Dude, Wesker
doesn't make any sense.
Had like a worse blonde dye haircut than Slim Shady.
Yep.
His hair was yellow. It wasn't even blonde. It was... They took a brush and they painted his hair with canary yellow.
Took over Washington, D.C. at the end of Retribution.
I know.
So don't forget that he took over the fucking White House, and here we are in 2020 asking for a movie that could just not be bad. So
you know what? I hope they did.
Negativity that can come out of this.
You know what I hope they did? I hope they made them fuckers watch the movies and then go, "You see all that? Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't act like Wesker got fired."
See, what we got to do here is we got to rise above the hate.
It's really sad that Alice was the best actress.
Yeah.
Mila was the best actor in all of the... It was like Mila was a AAA actor and everyone else was D.
And they knew that she was carrying that shit big time. Because you didn't care about the bosses. You didn't care about...
No.
Because they were just throwing shit at the screen. Like, hey, remember this, remember that, remember this.
We meme about Alice all the time. By a large margin, she is the best actor in those movies.
Yeah.
By far.
But also, you got to think that, like...
And LJ.
LJ and if you listen to if you listen to the review, like again, like this is stuff that we all say.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when people are like, "Man, you guys are always shitting on the live action movies," well, not necessarily. We're going to be doing a review. We're going to be doing also a commentary on Apocalypse. That's still coming up. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so that's our Resident Evil movie reboot thoughts.
I have a question.
Yeah,
to end this out, and I want you guys to answer it in the comment section too of the video if you're watching this on YouTube. How are you going to feel if there is no other characters in this movie? What if they just cut Barry and they just cut Rebecca?
Right, if they do cut more characters.
And Enrico and Forrest and
like,
Kenneth.
Like Birkin
no
never
Sherry.
has a daughter running
no
around
Annette.
the city. No Annette. He's just
No Marvin.
He's a single dude.
Where's Marvin? Will Smith's still alive.
They could
have
got
him.
At the time, actually.
They could have got him, bro.
But no, they're yeah. That brings.
That would have
been
been my fucking dream.
What do you?
Would have been the best movie in the world.
What do you
if Will
think's
Smith
going
was
to
Marvin.
get cut? Yeah, I know. What do you think's going to get cut? And what are you looking forward to this?
They're going to cut more out of this than they did RE3.
Oh yeah,
that was a meme.
Do you still feel? Do you still feel? Yeah, I know, right? Do you still feel burned after the Paul W.S. Anderson movies? And yeah, what do you think they're going to take out or add or subtract?
Yeah, answer all that in the comment section below.
Yeah,
and if you don't, what are you here for?
Yeah, we got to discuss about this stuff.
Help the algorithm
as a community.
Every comment and like you leave helps the algorithm.
Even
helps
the dislikes.
us get
so even
pushed.
if you hate us and you're like, "Yo, fuck these guys," hey,
you
we
dislike
appreciate
us,
you
thank
listening
you.
to us. Hey, we appreciate the download.
And hopefully everybody understands what I was saying earlier in the podcast.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, and you actually have a question, join the Discord and ask me.
I'll
I'll clarify.
We're always hanging around and chatting it up on the Discord. So yes, join the Discord as well. You can obviously catch the show on Spotify, iTunes, Libsyn, Google Play, anywhere you can find podcasts and listen to all that stuff for free downloads. And coming up on the show, we got a Resident Evil Apocalypse review and commentary that we're going to be doing. And other than that, we'll keep you posted on any news that comes out for Village or the movie reboot or the TV show or the other TV show and the other Netflix show. Other than that, peace.
This video was brought to you by our supporters over on Patreon, where users like Brittany Kempf make it possible to keep on delivering awesome content. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.